Let's talk about coding syntax in Java. Hello everyone, this is Ali Reza. Welcome to the Mentor Code Lab. Today we are going to talk about syntax of your code in Java. Before we start talking about the syntax, I need to clear a little bit of information. We have three different naming conventions being used in the word. The first one is called Pascal case. The second one is called camel case, and the third one is called snake case. When you want to put names inside your code, for example, here we are naming this class as main, you have to follow a special naming convention. In C#, everything is Pascal case other than private fields. They can use snake case or camel case, okay? However, everything else inside C# is Pascal case. Pascal case means that if we are writing something, this is my computer. Everything starts with a capital letter for each word. Camel case starts with the lowercase for the first letter. So this is this, then uses capitals for each word. So this is my computer. Snake case is all lowercase. However, to separate different words, it uses an underline. So this is my computer. And these are the three naming conventions that are being used in the word. However, in Java, we don't use a snake case. If we are defining a class or an enum or an interface, we go with Pascal case. Same goes for structures. On the definition, methods and variables, internal data types, all use camel case. Now we can move forward. So when we want to define one object here, this main.java is defining an object named main, and the type of the object is a class type. So whenever we want to define an object, first we need to define the accessibility. Now, if you don't know what is a method or what is a class or what is accessibility, what is object-oriented programming, I have a dedicated video series for that already on the channel talking about these in theory. Okay? So first things first, we assign an accessibility here. We say that, hey, this object is public. Most of the time, your classes and interfaces are always public, almost always, other than internal classes. And we'll talk about them later. However, I just want to clear a few things beforehand. Then is the type. Now, this is a class. It can be enum, it can be interface, it can be a struct. So this is telling that, hey, the object that I'm defining is the type of class. Then the name of the object, we call it whatever we want. Here we are calling it main. There is a little bit of limitation here. This main should be the same with the name of the file. So as you see, the file is called main.java and the class name is main. So that should be the same thing. Also, keep in mind, Java is case sensitive. So this main with capital letter is different with this main with lowercase letter. You can't have your file with lowercase letter and the class name with capital letter or vice versa. They should exactly match with each other. After this, we will have a pair of opening and closing curly braces. Each object definition has the same situation. So whenever you open one of these, if you are opening a curly brace, you should have a matching closing curly brace. If you open a parenthesis, you should have a matching closing parenthesis. If you are opening a bracket, you should have a closing bracket that matches it. If you have opening double quotation, you will have a closing double quotation that matches it. If you have an apostrophe, you should have a closing apostrophe for the char type. Okay? Now, these have one exception, and that's inside a string. Inside the string, you are free to use any one of them. But in coding, whenever you code, you should match these one with each other. And as you see, when I move my cursor up and down. Right now my cursor is on the line number 2 and close to the curly brace. Look at line number 7. The curly brace there is highlighted. It is showing that these two curly braces are matching each other. Now, if I go to line number 4, you see that the matching curly braces are highlighted. Same goes with parentheses. If I get my cursor close to a parenthesis, the closing one or the matching one will be highlighted. Unfortunately, we don't have this glory with double quotations. But on curly braces, they highlight each other. So these are a few things that you should know. Then we have a method here. Now we will come back to methods later, so I'm just showing you the very first code that is being generated by the code generator of the creating project section. And I want to clear a few things about the syntax. Again, this method has an accessor, it has a static definition. We have a video about the statics in theory, then the returning type, then the name, and as I said, it should be camel case this time, and then the parameter. Then again, remember, classes, methods, these need to open and close with curly brace. Anything that is being between two matching curly braces are the code that is in the scope of the matching curly braces. So the highlighted code is sitting inside the scope of the curly braces of line 2 and 7. Basically, this is the code sitting inside the scope of this class. When we go there on line 4, the lines sitting between the green curly braces are the code that is in the scope of those curly braces, in this case, in the scope of this method. Okay, now each line of code needs to be ended with a semicolon. However, there are exceptions. As you see, the definition of class, the definition of method, and later down the road, you will see that we have if statements. So, for example, if I say if true, you see that here I don't have semicolons, switches, while loop, for loop, if, class definition, method definition, and few others actually are an exception for this semicolon. But if I remove this semicolon, you will see that there is this little underline being with red color. That's an error. You see that red line on the right hand side, and I have one error notification on top. Also, the main.java class name inside the project is red, its folder is red, and the project itself has underlined red lines showing that we have errors there. Also on top, when it shows the hierarchy of objects, again we have underlined reds showing that we are working with a problematic file that somewhere inside of itself has an error. This is a very good way of marking your code as you are moving forward, or if you have an error somewhere and you don't know where to look for, these underlined red lines are really helpful. If the code is okay compiling wise, you will have this check mark in green color. However, if there are warnings inside your code for whatever reason, there will be a yellow marker here showing that, hey, you have some warnings. Warnings are not code breaking. For example, remember I typed this. Now you see that I have a yellow line, and a yellow exclamation with 2 means that I have 2 warnings. Now if I compile this or run it, it will work, but there is something that compiler found, and in this case it says, hey, if this is always true, then why do you check it? It will be always true. The code between these two curly braces will always execute. So you don't need to check it here. The code is always run, and basically you don't need to do this. Just remove it and the code works. And if I say else, it won't yell at me about the else code, because in compiler's eyes, he already addressed the problem in this case. The warnings will not break the compilation or even the program running logic. However, it's better to pay attention to warnings every now and then, because sometimes they are really nice to have and clean. Sometimes you can't do anything about it, especially when you go into Minecraft programming. You will see that we will have some warnings here and there, and we will completely ignore them because we have to do it in that special way because the mod loader API forces us to. Now that's as much as we can do on this video talking about the syntax. From the next video, we will start talking about this line of code and what it is doing to send out information at runtime inside the console in this case. And we will use it in development environment for debugging or finding some information while we are programming without bothering the user of the software with messages that are not necessarily related to the user. In the next video, we will come back to this and we will talk about system and out and println and what is going on here. If you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button and turn on that bell so that when I publish a new video, you will get informed. Have fun everyone. Bye.